who's getting the gift card. Hey y'all, RoamTownGirl here, and if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by, and if you're a long-time watcher, thank you for coming back. So today we're going to talk about the contest. So for those of you that don't know, I can kind of be a bad YouTuber and go for a few weeks, maybe even a few months at a time without posting videos. Although I'm trying to be much better about that. But I tried to come up with something that would fill in the gap for when that does happen. And so I have a Facebook group called RoamTownGirl Roundup. And you can go over there anytime and check out what I'm up to. Because it's much easier for me to do a quick post, put a picture, put a short video, and that way you can know I'm alright, what I'm up to, and you can also communicate with me and I can reply. So I thought that was a great solution. So for those of you that already do go over there to my Facebook group, you know that I had a stay at a park that was very questionable how long I was gonna last. And so I thought, instead of being bummed, let's make a game out of this. So I have a $25 gift card, and the winner is going to be the person who guesses closest to how many days I lasted at this park. And just so you know, I got the card right here. So this is how it's going to work. I'm going to run through the problems I was having at the park, but I'm also going to show you that I had solutions for, I think, all of them. I'm going to let you know that I had booked a 14-day stay, and it's going to be up to you to decide how many days do you think I lasted. And in case we've got several people who think the same amount of days, which is very possible, I also want you to put what time you think I left. And that way, for those that guess the right amount of days, we'll pick whoever has closest to the time that I actually left. Okay, and you just put those in the comments below. And that way, everyone can see there's no cheating. We can see who posted a comment, how many days they think I lasted, and at what time I gave up and left. Disclaimer, because this is a time-sensitive video, you can watch it anytime, but of course the contest will probably be over if you watch this sometime in the future. So I figure I'll give this video 7 days for people to respond and comment with their guesses, and then on the following week I will put up a video announcing who the winner is. Sound good? Now the park I was at was Conchas Lake in New Mexico. It's one of their state parks. This video is independent and separate of the actual review I did of the park. So that's a separate video, and I hope you'll watch that one. So I reserved my site for the full 14 days. That's the maximum time you're allowed to book a site for. It was an electric site because I had to do it through Reserve America, and at that time, no first come, no first serve, and only electrical sites were in play. So the way I saw it, I had 4 main challenges to deal with. The first unexpected challenge was that they had a water issue. So they had these little signs saying you had to boil the water before using it. I asked the camp host and found out it's because it had a high chlorine rating. Well, I was supposed to be there for 2 whole weeks. Now I always show up with a full water tank, so I can use my onboard water with a pump. The problem is the water in the tank is not going to last me a full 14 days. Maybe about 8 days if I'm really careful. But remember, I told you I have workaround strategies. So I always carry an extra 6 gallons of water, so I had that. And I did invest in one of those dual canister carbon and particle filters. I got this for when I'm in Arizona because their water is yucky. But it does say it filters for chlorine. I also have my Berkey inside, so I could basically take mud and run it through that thing and have drinkable fresh water. So like I said, I would be running out of water in my water tank, but I did have access to an additional 6 gallons, and beyond that, I had 2 ways to filter water. So that was the water situation. Next problem was connectivity. What I didn't realize until I got closer to being there was that this was a park with little to no connectivity. And as you know, when I get caught at parks that have no internet, I basically implode after about day 3. I think the hardest part for me is not being able to make phone calls. Even if I don't choose to, just psychologically, I need to know that I can, just in case. Now, I have added an AT&T hotspot to my existing Verizon situation. So AT&T was supposed to work there, and I could conceivably be able to access the internet. But remember, I told you my biggest thing is not being able to make phone calls. However, I figured out that Google allows you to make phone calls through your internet. So I set that up before I even got there, and I figured I'd be able to make phone calls using my AT&T hotspot and do it through my laptop. And it did work. So I was okay there. Next challenge, my holding tanks. So with conservative usage, my holding tanks will make it about 12 days, not the full 14. I'm still working on it in my new RV, trying to figure out how to get that to stretch longer. Now, my old guy Scout, he could go 2 weeks before I filled my tanks. However, this new guy, Romeo Fancy Pants, he seems to only make it about 12. And here's my workarounds for that. So you know I have a way of offloading 5 gallons of gray water. I'll put a link to that video up above. I invented that for when I'm boondocking, but of course it would completely work in this scenario. So theoretically, I've got an extra 5 gallons in my gray tank, but it's the black tank that's problematic. But to circumvent that, they do have a dump station there. So it would really just be about the inconvenience of having to move everything into travel mode, head over to the dump station, and then get back into my site, re-level, and put everything back into living mode. Again, doable but inconvenient. Another thing I have for boondocking that would be very helpful in this situation is I have a camp shower, which uses far less water, as well as puts far less water down in my gray tank, so it stretches out the time on that. So again, I wouldn't get to take nice showers, but I could take my camping showers, which would get the job done and be very, very conservative with my water usage and gray tank. Also, if all else failed, they have bathrooms and they were walking distance, and they're flush toilets, yay, and showers. So again, I had that available to me as far as my tanks filling up before it was time to leave. And then the last is my views, which is what I covet, I think, the most. Actually, if I'm honest, I think connectivity is number 1 and view is number 2, and all these other things are just sort of chores and inconveniences that can be dealt with. So I didn't know, but my spot was right next to this big old ugly antenna, and there was nothing I could do. That is just what I was gonna see out my window. So here's the view from one side of my RV. Here's a view from the other side of my RV. And here's the view out of the back of my RV, which of course is the hero view. So that's it. Those were the 4 things I had to deal with. Changing sites was not an option, everything was booked. So, knowing me and given those pieces of information, how many days do you think I lasted? And on the day that I left, what time do you think I left? And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, if you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. And of course, I'm expecting lots of comments with all your guesses. And I'll see you in a week to tell you who's getting the gift card. Happy guessing! See you next time!